There we go. Okay, we're up. Are we? Yeah. Okay, good. Alrighty. So we'll be picking up today where we left off last night, which was last night we kind of altered the future table flow a little bit. So previously we were planning on having post series topics, but we've since changed that last night to post collections taxonomies. And then we went through, set up those models and those migrations. And now today, well, we also got the CRUD for the collections working. So now what we need to do is actually allow for posts to be bound to collections. So that's what we'll be working on today. And so we'll be placing that right over here. And the main thing I think that, no, never mind. I was going to say, I think we need the collection to actually be created before posts can get bound to it. But we can work around that actually and make this doable all in one. So let's go into the creator edit page and let's go ahead and start stubbing out what we want this to be. So ideally it would be some kind of autocomplete, but we don't need to start with that necessarily out of the box. Instead, well, yeah, why don't we? So do we have anything autocomplete based in here? I do not believe we do. Let me go take it. Well, on the last one I was using view. So let's see here. Well, why don't we do a simple select? So we'll do @form input alt. And then for the data for it, let's see, we're going to do a type of select. Well, no, you would want it to be typeable. So we'll do type of, let me go take a look at the input real quick. So we have your basic input. Maybe we will need to make an autocomplete type field. And why don't we do that? So we'll use this as a group. So the type will be a group. And then we'll do @end, whoops, and then we'll need to do @slot input and slot. And then within here will lie our autocomplete. And we can actually give this a label and everything too. So label will be posts, sure. So we'll start with that. We can see that we have our posts here with no form input. And then let me go find an autocomplete. JS autocomplete. Nope, don't want jQuery. Autocomplete JS, maybe. So what I'm hoping for is something that doesn't actually usage input ID. Okay, you have any examples of what it, here's a demo. That should work. Okay, so we'll plan for that. So let's see, this would be input with an ID of post autocomplete. And we'll just end it like that for right now. And then we'll go ahead and install this. So let's go into the installation, copy this. Okay. And then usage. So we need an ID. And then we need the script. And then it takes in the config. Okay. So within our scripts here, since this is specifically going to be for, well, we can do it down at the, we'll do another script for it and it won't hurt anything. So studio will do collections.js. We will import, I'm assuming we're going to, it's probably a default export, I would assume. I didn't see anything with an import statement in here. So import autocomplete from, who was it? At, it had a weird yeah, right here. I don't know if it was, we'll use autocomplete within Visual Studio Code to finish that up. So we'll do dupe, and yep, all right, it's full autocomplete.js. There we go. Hey, Augustine, thanks for stopping by. And then we need to figure out what all it takes within the configuration. So let's see, selector would be the selector, so we can do const post autocomplete equals new, right? New, let's go back. I had it, yeah. So since it's new, and I'm hoping that that's a default import, I'm gonna go ahead and capitalize that. So autocompletes selector would be at post autocomplete, and then yeah, I need some way to tell it to grab data. We could pass that in on load, or we could have it filtered down. I would prefer the backend to do the filtering. So let's see if maybe, yeah, async. There you go. Data source, all right. And then we grab it, and then we return it. Gotcha. So data source, oh, was that a function? Yes, all right. Async, take some kind of query. Okay, that's probably the search query. We'll have to see exactly what that looks like. And then keys, data object key to be searched. So the key for this, I'm gonna put that above source, would probably be name. So, well, no, it's post, so that would be title, actually. Okay, so now we need to create some form of autocomplete search for the post, but first I want to see exactly what this query is. I assume that's probably just a string, but it would have to be like URL safe the way that they're using it, right? So let's see what exactly it is. So console.log query, and then that will also allow us to see whether or not this autocomplete is taking to the post at all. So we need to add it to our webpack config since this is a new file. Studio.collections and resources JS studio collections.js, I believe. So we give that a save, and I think we need to restart the server whenever we add in a new entry. So we'll do that as well. And then we need to actually add that post, that script onto the page. So I'm just going to copy and paste the one that I have from here. Yeah. Onto here. And instead of studio post editor, it's just studio.collections. Okay, so let's check and make sure that that's loading in. We have our post or our input over here. And I want to just, doesn't look like it's overwriting anything with that. Well, that's a Babel thing, if I remember right. Yeah, Babel polyfill. Let's see, he's got a but. There's always a but. Well, I'm pretty sure last time I just went with the Babel polyfill, so even though he says it's deprecated, I'm going to go with it. at least as a temporary fix. And I can't even spell it right. There's no at. I don't know why I figured there would be an at there. All right. And then within that particular script, I know that there's a way to like have that apply everywhere with Webpack Encore, but for right now we'll do this just to make sure that everything's working with this. So we no longer get that error, which is good. And now that input is overriding stuff on that normal input. So that is at least working. So let's see if we can type something in and get, oop, all right. Yeah, that makes sense because we're not returning anything. I want to do a full-on test. So testing with a space, and it looks like it had that space in it. Yeah. So it's not necessarily URL safe like their thing here implies. So I'm going to pass it up as a query string. I think. So we'll do something like, let's wrap it up in a try catch. Well, no, I want the error to come back while we're developing it, so I won't quite wrap it in a try catch yet. So const posts equals weight. We'll do data. Pardon me, I still use Axios. I know I should use fetch, but I still use Axios. Axios, and then we'll do get, and then this will be something like API posts search or something of the sort, and then we'll pass. Well, this should be a tilde. All right, we could do a nah. All right, and then we'll do that, and term equals query. So we'll see about that, and then return data dot posts. Try that to start, and then we need to actually go create that input or route. So we'll do routes. And then we have our posts right here. Oh, actually, that needs to also be within Studio. So it's API Studio posts. There we go. So we have this basic API here for the assets so far. So we'll tack this inside of here as route.group. And then we will scope this specifically to the Studio. So prefix Studio as Studio route dot get what was it, posts search, I think, and then this will go inside of the posts controller. Oh wait, we need to namespace this as well. So let's see, this should be app controllers HTTP Studio, I think. Cheat, look at this one, app controllers. Yeah, okay. All right, and then we'll do, let's just do search on that, and then we want to go into that controller. So post controller, we'll do this just below, and we'll do it at the bottom. Public async search. So we have a request, and then we're going to have a response. HTTP context contract. All right, and then let's see. To get a particular query string, let's see, what is that? So const term equals request dot. I think QS gets the whole query string. Yeah, object. We could do that, and then we could accept like a sort, but let's see. I think, is it only get value of specified keys? No, I think that's off of the body. Which one is it? I think it might be input. request body or query string. There we go. That's the one I'm looking for. Term. Otherwise, it should be an empty string. And then we'll want to just query using that term. So const posts equals, and I'm just going to do like a simplistic query. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. Await post dot query dot where title is like the term, and then that also needs to be percent term percent. Okay, so we'll just do a simple title search on that, and then maybe ordered by descending the publish at. Right. And then we will just return those back. So we'll do posts, and then it doesn't, we don't need to do a message or anything like that. So we could just return back the posts. Okay. And we already made the route for that, right? So we can go ahead and test that out. So I'm going to just refresh for clarification here. And, well, we're still getting an error. Or no, it's okay. It's sending it off, but that's returning back a 500. So what be the issue? Okay, so it's something wrong with the namespace. Can I find module code app controllers HTTP studio post controllers? Oh, did I do post controllers? Whoops. Sure enough. It's a single controller full of multiple controllers. All right, let's try that again. All right, so do we have any posts? Well, that's going to be an issue. Let's create some test posts real quick. All right. This is a test post. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. Another test post. And we'll do one more. That doesn't match anything with the previous ones. So we'll do, yeah. All right. So we have some test posts. It gives us some stuff to query off of. And then within our collection here, we should be able to do, if we search for test, oh, I saw an object show up. All right, so it looks like the search is, so yeah, that comes back empty, but this one came back with something. I did name them test, didn't I? Like 2 of them had test in it. Test and test. Okay. Oh, I bet you it's capitalization. Probably. All right, well, let's test it without. Nope, still doesn't want to show any up on that. Oh, no, it is coming back. Just doesn't want to display it. And then it's also showing it as object. Like if we take back to just T, it's showing it as object. So, oh, keys is supposed to be an array. Okay. So that might be the issue because I just put it as a string, I think. So let's see. Yep, sure enough. So let's wrap that up in an array, and let's see if maybe that fixes this. No, it's still object. Well, did it refresh? It should have, but we'll check and make sure. Yeah, it's still object. Interesting. All right, I guess the next thing to check would be to see exactly what I'm returning back. So let's console.logout data.posts. Make sure that we're just getting back the array of the posts. So we got 2 here, so Yep, sure enough. All right. So it probably has some sort of thing not within there that's specifying or searching for value and key or something like that. Value ID, something of this sort. So let's see. Result item. Let's take a look at what it's doing for the string. So for that, it's just a string. For this, yeah. And we have title. Am I putting that in the right spot? Data, keys, data, keys. There we go. Okay, that's better. Cool. So now that's showing up. So one problem solved there. Cool. So they persist, and then if we do another, if we just do A, cool. So that seems to be working. Next, we need to like handle the select. So those are definitely like they don't even seem to be selectable. So I would just, let's see, results list, rendering, interception, and customizing. So okay. I'm gonna go ahead, copy that. Let's try, so that probably outside of data, so it's probably like here. Destination, it's probably something that it's, I'm gonna leave destination off. It should autofill that, I would think, with whatever it's using. And then here we're going to want I think that's it, so that it's like at least selectable. And then I don't know whether or not we're gonna need to like put an @click on that, or if there's gonna be some kind of, let's see, yeah, there we go. All right, so that's at least appearing clickable now. Let's see if there's like a, oh, we're also gonna want no results. Open next, previous, go to select. Selects the result item from the list. It should do that automatically, though, you would think. That's just to do it programmatically. But definitely if I type that in, it doesn't even want to autofill the select with it. So is there any examples? I'll just steal one off of their example. Styles, plugins, playground maybe? Yeah, here we go. So let's see, they are doing well, I'm gonna copy and paste all of this. And I'm gonna paste it down below. So here's ours, and I'm gonna paste this down here because I don't know what all. Oh, it didn't do any formatting. Wow, that's a lot too. Oh, that copied way too much. Yeah, that copied the whole thing. There we go. All right, now we'll pluck out what we need out of here. So let's see here. Get rid of all of these comments. All right. And then we'll tack this onto, so we'll replace this with Jeezel Beats. They really didn't. No, there was not this much in there, was there? No, okay, evidently I didn't get rid of the whole thing last time. Or did I copy the whole thing again? No, okay, that's definitely not as big as it was before. Okay, that's better. So we'll go ahead and, let's see, I used mine with a capital A, lowercase c. And let's get our data grab in place of their data grab. Turn data.posts. Okay, and our key is just title. We do not need a filter. Our backend will be taking care of that. Everything else, let's just go ahead and save and see what we get. Oh, we need the selector in there too, don't we? So selector, do they have a selector in there that I need to overwrite? Doesn't look like it, so we'll add that in. Okay, so let's comment ours out. Okay, and oh, we got an error. Cannot access property at event listener document.query selector is null, but which one is it? It could be a number of them. Let's get element by ID. I think. Why don't we go ahead and just use the default? Like what are they? They're probably just using autocomplete as their ID on their input. I would assume that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. So this would then be posts autocomplete posts autocomplete. Any others? I mean, they got a lot of stuff in here. Okay, let's give that a go. Still, all right. What line are you on? 110. Document, query selector, add event listener, so there's no toggler. We know what the toggler would do. What's the toggler do in their example? Oh, okay, mode. Yeah, we don't have that. Augustine asks, can you show me the project you do yet? Do you mean the project that we're working on? We're rebuilding Jaeger, the site that I host all my content on. So like I don't have an end result, but this is ultimately like what we're rebuilding, and we're going with different styles and a different approach with it this time. So that's kind of what we're doing. So like the homepage is all hard coded at this point, but it will end up looking something like this. And then we'll have a post page and all that we're incrementally working on. So there is no finished project with this already. Kind of just working through this as we go. So we'll get rid of this toggler. We'll see if we run into an issue with that blur on blur. I don't know what that would be for either. Okay, no error. So let's try this out. So, oh, now we got an error. Title is null. Oh, okay. So const action equals action. The blur on blur, we can get rid of that too. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this as well. I think that's related. Okay, there we go. No error. but we are not getting any results. Either that or it's just like up here. It might be absolutely positioned or something like that. So let's see if, no, the list is empty. Well, it could be because it's caching it too. I don't know how strong their cache is. So we'll come over here, we'll check. Let's turn, yeah, XHR is on. So no, it's not kicking anything out as we type. So let's see what that's all about. I'm gonna get rid of that. That might be messing it up. Nope, still doesn't want to go. All right, you. Let's see. I don't necessarily see anything in here that would, well, there's no query now, is there? All right, let's do that. See if that makes a difference. Nope. Are we at least getting in here? Yeah, we're getting in there. So it's kicking it out somewhere. It could be actually erroring out right here. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that. Okay. There we go. Now we're getting stuff. Cool. All right. And then if we select something, cannot access property in your HTML document query selector is null on line 89. Yeah, so I mean, whenever a user selects something, what we're going to want to do is append it into a list anyway. So we need to go ahead and create that list. So let's do, so actually what we can do is, I have some form of input that can go inside of the alt. I don't remember what that is, but so let's do a, let's see. Well, no, you wouldn't want that to be as well. Yeah, why not? Template with an ID of, well, we have the list item kind of in there already. So we'll do UL with an ID of selected posts. Right. And then what we'll do is we'll just append that list item from the collection into there. So let's see if, all right, so let's walk through this here. So let's see, we have here, are we actually getting the selection or does this need changed? Here we definitely know that we need to change something, so why don't we go ahead and, instead of query selecting all of instead of query selecting all of that, well, yeah, we'll do it there for right now. Actually, we can do get on by ID. And what did I name that? Selected posts. Dot append child. And then we would want to make like a node for that to actually append. Or we could just enter HTML, concatenate a string. We'll do this. Well, do we? Yeah, why don't we go ahead and just enter HTML append to string for right now. So const I have no clue what selection is yet, so we're just going to do selection there. And we'll get rid of this line. And it looks like that's trying to set it to the selection. We'll see whether or not that works. If it is, then I would imagine that that is just like the title string. So yeah, we'll see what all this is going to do. So we'll do test, and then we will select this one. And let's verify whether or not that's the UL. Yep, so that's the selected ones. All right. And now what we really need is an ID. So let's see what our selection is. And then it's also querying out the feedback down here. So selection is indeed just a string. Feedback though, let's see what the event has in it. So, nope, that wouldn't be it. Selection. Yeah, so this is what we would ultimately want. So it has the value in here with the actual row record. So we want selection value dot ID, and then yeah, so it's using the key to get the string there. So that works for that. So that would be the matched key. Okay. Oh, okay. So that's ultimately just getting it off of there. So, all right. So we can get rid of all of that. We can get rid of this because we don't want that. Well, actually, we want to clear it out. So we can get rid of that as well. And then we'll leave that console.log in there for a minute until we have this working. So here, what we want is for this to have a hidden input in it with our post IDs. And then it's also going to need to have the collection ID in it as well, because ultimately what we're going to want is for these collections to be nestable. And so we would have also, so this wouldn't necessarily in the future will be posts, but it will be collections. And then each collection would have a post, and then you could have posts directly off of the collection as well. So to show you an example of what I'm talking about here, so if we go into, this wasn't the best implementation of it, especially since the backend isn't the best implementation of it. But if we go into the series, and let's take a look at the let's build, nope, not let's build, the let's learn. So you can see the modules here, which are ultimately in the backend just, well, no, these are different, but in our backend now, these are just collections. So this would be a collection, and then this would be a child collection, this would be another child collection, and then all of the posts would be just off of that child collection, if that makes sense. So that's what we're after. So we're going to want an input, type hidden. We need to determine how we want to maintain this. So it would be name of, so this one would be collection ID, but it would be an array. And then the value would be, for right now, whatever collection we are in. which I don't think we have anywhere currently accessible. We do not. So actually we can leave that null if it's just directly off of the parent for right now anyway. So we'll just do post ID here, and that one will be an array. And the value there we do have, and that's going to be feedback selection value ID, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then we would have the actual label off of it. And then we can use counters on CSS side to count. So we don't necessarily need to put, well, like an index-based counter on it. I don't exactly remember how those work. We'll have to look those up. But to start out with, this should work okay. So let's try this again. Let's do T. Select that. Nope. Selection is not defined. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Select you now. All right. Well, that needs some. Oh, that's the input. Why isn't that hidden? I did too. Oh, I didn't. I did not. Oh, my bad. So yeah, that should be a type. Hidden. Okay, let's try that one more time. So T, there we go. So now we have that. And then if we were to save this, we would now get with our data post IDs. I don't know why I'm doing an underscore there. Actually, that should be just, let's do post ID. Okay. Probably do post IDs. There we go. So within our collection validator, post IDs, schema, string, nope, sorry, array. And that should actually be optional because you don't necessarily need to have any posts. And then members, schema dot number, because we'll just be sending up the IDs. And then number needs a rule of exists for the table, posts, and the column ID. Okay. So we can go ahead, well, then we need to try and persist it in order to actually test and see whether or not it works, but we could just console.log out our data. So let's see, we'll start with edit, and then we'll go back to create, since we it'll be easier to test it out with edit. That way we don't have to create a bunch. Okay, so, sorry, update, I mean. So on here, instead of trying to append the post IDs in with the collection merge, we're going to want to extract it out of the data. So it would be post IDs, and then data would then be a spread of the rest. And then we want to do something like if post IDs dot, well, no, sorry. Then we want to do await collection related, there it is, posts dot sync, and this will definitely change in the future because we need to actually get the sort order to save. But for right now, just to test things out, let's do post IDs. Let's just pass it no. Why? Argument of type number, array, or undefined is not assignable to a parameter. Oh, okay, gotcha. There. Okay, so we'll test that out. We'll see. We can also toss a console.log up just to make sure that we're getting post IDs as we expect. But I believe that should work. So we'll test it out here. Let's do T. We'll tack 2 on there. Another thing that we need to do is remove already selected ones. So I guess we would want filtered for that. to remove already selected items from the autocomplete. Or we could pass up like an array of extend or ignore IDs on here as an additional query string. I think that would probably be the better approach. That way the backend's doing everything. So let's go ahead and try saving. Okay. We won't have it auto-populate yet because we don't have anything querying, but if we check out the database and see, where do we need to check? Collection posts. There they are. We have 2 with a post ID of 1 and 2 on collection number 2. So they seem to be saving. So the next thing to do would be to get those to auto. Well, we can also check out the console log as well, make sure everything came through. Yep. So we get rid of that console log. And whenever we actually go into edit a collection, now we want to also query those posts for our collection. So we'll do just a simple load, I think. And we don't have it in place yet, but we'll go ahead and put the order by the sort order on here, just so we have it there. Or order by pivot, sorry. Right? Isn't that a thing? I thought it was. Let's see. Oh. Let's see, so we have pivot foreign key, pivot related foreign key, pivot table, pivot columns. Am I looking in the right spot? Nope, that's not the query. Query builder, here we go. So maybe not, I forget, it's been a while. Select project user.role as pivot role. Oh, yes, all right, that's right. So it would be pivot sort order on here because I already have the pivot column defined on the model. So query dot order by pivot sort order. We'll at least see if that works. We can't quite test it yet because nothing's different with the sort order, but we'll test it here in a minute. So that should get them loading into the edit page. So then on the creator edit, what we need to do is go ahead and plop those in here. So each post in collection.posts, and we can do, I think we can do that. Or, well, let's just wrap it in an if. That'll make it a little bit cleaner. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing that we have going on that script. So it would be an li with an input type hidden, name of post IDs as an array, and the value as the post.id. And then just a post.title rendering out there, and then end li. So now if we save this, that should be a way to kind of auto-populate it. Because those post IDs will now be within the form. And there they are. It's not pretty to look at, but it should work. and we need to add in a way to actually remove them as well. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Div class flex justify between. Okay, and then we'll do button type button. Just do that for right now. Oh, I didn't get the red. Oh. Let's see, what does that need to be? 700? Yeah, that works. All right, so it's not pretty, but again, should work. And then that would just be, we need to remove the whole li. So why don't we do this instead? Let's move this up to here. Get rid of this div altogether. I don't think this input should mess anything up. Nope. Okay. So then all that we need to do is on-click this parent element dot remove, I think. So if we click on this, yep, there it goes. It's away. And then if we save, that should have synced it. So it would have removed, I think it was this first one here with the post ID of 1. Yep, so it's gone. And then if we go back in and edit this, there we are. We just have that one left. So that seems to be working as well. So let's go ahead and get this to where if we type, we don't get a duplicate response of something that's already selected. So let's see here. How do we want to maintain that? I think something that would be better is if we turned this into an Alpine component instead of relying on native JavaScript. That way we can actually hold all of these within an array instead of having like the template defined in 2 different places. So I am going to pull the collections over to the right-hand side. I'm going to get rid of the old autocomplete that we had there. And let's see if I can remember how to do this. Actually, I'm going to pull up the file manager here so that I can cheat off of it. All right, so it's just a simple function that returns back an object. All right. So we'll do function collection post manager that takes in posts, which will default to an empty array if it's not provided. And we'll have this return. Is there like an unmounted hook or something like that for Alpine? Because that's where we would probably want this stuff to register. And it would be great to have that within the lifecycle of Alpine. So let's see. Alpine.js. Hooks. Lifecycle, there we go. Init, okay. Do I need to explicitly do that within .data though, or can I do that like within the function approach? I would assume you'd be okay to do that within the function approach, right? All right, let's give it a go. Let's see if it works. So is that, I guess that would be within the return as like a function. In which case we would want to, let's wrap this all up in, well, all right, let's cut it out since we know that that works as one and pasted it within that init. Okay. And then I think what am I doing? I'm plopping that on the window. Yeah, that way we can call it from within the template. And then this would be called collection post manager. Oh, I'm okay. Collection. We'll do it as that naming. So I'll alter this one to match the lowercase c. Okay. And then let's see here. We want this to have posts, which we will default to posts. That's passed into the function arguments. Probably going to want some kind of loading state. And apart from that, I don't know. We'll start with this. All right. Results, actually. Yeah, let's do results as well. So, or options. Okay. So then my hope would be that within here, let's see, we're using an arrow function, so my mind says that should be okay. So let's do this dot loading equals true. Well, no, I mean, it's this component here that's going to take care of those options. Would it not be easier to just build this on my own at this point then? Like, yeah, I don't see why not. Well, you have like the arrow controls and all that with the drop down though, don't you? No, I'm not seeing any. Yeah, okay, we'll progress. So this dot options equals data dot posts, and then we'll go ahead and just return back data dot posts there. And then we should be okay to get rid of the results list. No, that's the actual visual representation of the drop down. It's this result item, I think. No, maybe not. I need to spend some time to figure out exactly what those are for. All right, but it's on this selection here that we actually want to get rid of some stuff. So it's mostly just right here. So we would want to do this posts. Well, no. All right, so this needs to be an arrow function. Now this needs to be this dot posts dot push feedback dot selection dot value, I believe, and we'll just have that be the whole list of the posts. Okay. That should be okay. And then over here on the view side, what we would want to do is instead of doing this, we would want this wrapped up in a div with X. Is it init or data? I think it's X data, isn't it? I think so. And then we call the function. So that would be collection post manager and provide it the posts, which we'll do here in a second. Just want to get this pasted back in first. And then this would be from Edge as collection.posts. And then I think we need to stringify that as well. So with the view or the asset manager, I went and just did JSON.stringify, but I'm pretty sure that there is a helper to stringify it with Adonis as well. Oh, yeah, no, right here. So we can just call stringify there, and that should work. So stringify. Okay. And then instead of manually looping over this with edge, we would want to switch this to a template X for post in posts with a key of post.id. And then right here we would want to do, well, no, that was the if. Right here we would want to do end template. We can get rid of that if altogether. Decrement, whoops, decrement, and then this needs, I don't know if they do the curly braces, so we'll do x text post dot title, and then this I know needs to be like that, and then like that, and I think, well, the @click needs to change as well. So this would change to @click equals remove. We need to add that in, or delete. Is this the right spot? It sure is. Remove post, and then we'll take the post in. Okay. So we'll give that a save, and we'll give that a test. Let's see if it works. All right. Collection post manager is not defined. Okay. Did I go and name it right? So collection post manager, window.collection post manager. So that seems the same. Let's see, I'm gonna get rid of this side. And let's make sure that that script is actually plopping on the page okay. It might be that the script's not there. Well, no, the script would be there because it was working before. So it's right here. Could have something to do with the placement though. Let me take a look and see exactly where I had it on here. Oh, it was outside of the script, yeah. So it's probably something with the placement because within the scripts is where Alpine is added. So I think this needs added before Alpine. So nope, it would probably be in the prior section, right? So here, is that where I had it? Oh no, it was in scripts. It was outside of the script though. I think, did I have this inside of the script? No, I did not. Okay, well then that just takes us right back to where we were. All right, let me check and see. Is it X data? Form file manager. Let's check and see what we're using in there. So form file manager, X data. Yep. Oh, that's actually importing it just like that. So we could do that as well. We can move this into a component and call it autocomplete and make it reusable. I don't know if that would, we would need to like plop it out into its own thing again whenever we add in the module system. So we'll leave it separate. I do have a feeling though that it's something with it being called before Alpine or something like that. Collection post management's not defined, but I bet you it's on the window. Post manager. Yep. So it's there. It's just not defined when it needs to be. So I need to figure out where does it need to be defined at. There we go. All right. Yeah, okay, so it's back to working. Cool, cool, cool. So if we add another one in, does this still work? So if we add test back in, yeah, okay. Alrighty. So it just needs to be open with it. So I'll probably split that out into its own thing. Okay. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, right. We were going to make sure that the items were unique within the search. So if we head back into the script right here, we can add get ignore IDs. That returns back this posts dot map, and it just returns back the ID. So that would be an array of those IDs, and then what we would want to do is do and ignore, and then we can actually just do const ignore IDs equals this dot get ignore IDs dot join with a comma. So we'll comma separate them, and then we'll do ignore IDs. Okay, and then up in our endpoint for the post controller, we can do const ignore IDs equals request input ignore, have that default to an empty array or empty string, and then split it by the comma. So then we could also do then a where not in the ignore IDs. Are you an array? No, you're an any. But why would that be an any? Why does split return back an any? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay. As what? Array? Oops. As array? Let's see. If there is, let's see, if array dot is array ignore IDs, then we'll do if, we'll do it with an if on the query. Array dot is array ignore IDs. Then we will do query dot where not in, and then we can make this be an array by spreading it, right? Oh, yeah. Okay, now it's expected to get 2 arguments, got 1, because we need to specify the ID. There we go. Let's see. Do we need this spread still? No, okay, it seems happy without it. So, okay, cool. So that should be good. And then we can give that a save and try it out. So we have another test post already defined here. So if we type A, all right, cool, that's not coming back. You can verify that it's one of the ones that's already listed. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but by the X over here, and then the actual results have title. It's a little hard to see, but so it seems to be working. If we type test, it does not come back. If we select this is a test post, and then we type test again, it comes back as 0 matches. So that seems to be working. If we remove them both and we type test, we get back 500. So, all right. I have to imagine that's something to do with an empty array being provided for the ignore. Invalid input syntax for type integer. Yeah, so whenever we split the empty, yeah. So why don't we... What is... Well, I don't know. Because if you have an empty string and you split it, it turns it into an object array with, yeah. So, I mean, we could tack on a filter there to get rid of empty strings, but it seems a little redundant. Does filter boolean do that? I don't think it does, but because it's still an empty string. Oh, there. Okay, yeah, it turned it into an empty array. See there, you can see it's an empty string. Okay, so we'll stick with that. That should let's refresh to get rid of those errors. So if we get rid of you and we do test, there they are. Okay, so that seems to be working. All right, now we want, now that we have that working, we want these to be able to work for modules as well. So we should be able to create another collection within this collection. So this is where things can get a little messy. So let's see. We're going to want to take this component up a notch outside of the input. Okay. So now you are inside of the input, or the that component. And what the heck happened to the indentation here? It just did all kinds of flubbed up. Okay. And this would just change from collection post manager to just collection manager, because now this is going to maintain collections as well. Okay. And then we're going to want something like a button in here to add a new collection. Yeah, I think that's right. I don't know, something like that. Add subcollection. And then this would be not just an array of selected posts, but let's do collection items instead. I think that's a little more appropriate. Well, no, hold on a minute. So we're going to want the post autocomplete to definitely be specific to, we're going to want it for the root collection, but we're also going to want it for all of the sub collections as well. So whenever you create a collection, I think we're going to want this to loop for each collection, but then we're also going to want it to be at the bottom of the collection itself. So this would be template. Okay, and then we're going to have that inside of each one of those, but we're also going to have another UL that would then nest these within it. Oops. So I pasted that too soon. Well, no, the UL would be outside of the loop. No, it was that needed. Okay. There we go. Oops. Oops. There we go. Okay. There, now we got it right. All right. And then this would be the sub collection name. I have no clue how this is going to work. I know that we definitely don't want these to be alt-based inputs, so maybe we get rid of that. I don't even know if we want it to be a group at this point, but we'll leave it as that. And it's the same. Let's give it a save and see what we get. Probably an error. Yep. Collections is not defined, which of course it's definitely not. So we need to come in here. Collections, which this would want to accept collections as well. So posts specific to a collection are going to be within the collection item. Posts specific to the collection that we're editing, so this collection will be over here. In the sort order, we don't have this touched at all yet, will match as well. So you can have post subcollection, post subcollection, so the sort order will be inclusive of them all, I think. We'll touch that last because then we're going to need to merge the arrays into one another in order to make that happen. Which should be interesting, but we'll figure it out. Probably do like a computed property that just merges the two together based off of their safe sort order or something like that. Okay. So now what we need is the click function that actually creates the collection. So here, add collection. I'm going to collapse this in it. Here it was add collection, wasn't it? And all that this does is creates a collection. It doesn't take in a name or anything like that. You can alter the name afterward. It will be given a base name. So data equals await Axios post API studio collections stub. And then this dot collections push data dot collection. Okay, so let's go create this API Studio collection stub. Okay. collections controller. Do this right underneath create, because that's in essence what it is. So store public async stub. Won't need anything off of the request because it doesn't take a name or anything like that, but we will need a response. Oop, what the heck? HTTP context contract. Okay, so nothing to validate. All that we need to do is await collection.create, and we'll give it a name of something like your new collection. Owner ID is, oh, we do need auth. There we go. Auth user ID. What else on data up here? We don't, well, it won't need a slug at all. But we'll let it do its thing. Collection type ID, status ID, state ID, none of those apply to this, but those are not nullable, but they should have a database default, so they should be okay. So that, I think that should be it. And then all that we need to do is return response dot, oh, we need to get back the collection so that we can return it. Okay, JSON collection. So that's it. That should be it, I think. So if, oh, that needs to be async. Okay. There we go. Is that iterator a new error? Is that, yep, that's applicable. Iter is undefined. Why? All right, so that, Let's take a look at the actual collections. So, oh, okay. Did a colon there instead of an equals. All right, different error this time. Is that still applicable? Nope, okay. Something with hot reloading, I guess. So if we click, it's a giant button for this, but again, right now we're not after pretty, we're just after working. Add collections not defined, so it's not getting the function name, so it's probably something with the button. I don't think I'm going to want to use that button anyway, so I'm just going to not use the edge component button, and instead let's just do an actual button so that we can do an add click. Add collection. Okay, so it won't look like a button, it'll just be text, but it'll actually be a button that if we click, that, oh, I need to set a type on it. Type equals button so that the form doesn't submit on me like it just did. So if we come back in here, I have no clue if that just created a collection. So I'm going to go test and see. Or not test, but check out the database and see. So let's do collections. All right, nothing in here with the name, your new collection or anything like that, so it shouldn't have. Or did I refresh? Yeah, no, okay, nothing with the name, your new collection, so we're good. So if we, now we click add new collection, there is our new collection. Oh, the one thing that this is missing is it needs to be bound to this collection, so it needs the parent ID. So that is one thing that we do need to send up with this. And we need to pass that in here. So parent ID should be, and I'm going to break this down because we also need to add in the collections to this as well. Parent ID should be available collections.id, or no, sorry, collection.id. Otherwise, we want that to be null. Okay. And then, well, that should be okay because it will come back undefined and it would fail the truthy check anyway. Okay. And then we want collections as well. So collections, and that one will be stringify collection dot collections, I think. Is that what we named it, or did we name it children? Let's go take a look at the collection table and see what we have parent. Oh, there is no children, so we can't load that. We need to do a separate query. Is there a way to do that? I'm trying to think. Not off the top of my head, I can't think of a way to do that. I don't know. I've never tried it before. So what I'm thinking is like to where you do public children, and then you would say like find the parent by this ID. I don't think that exists. I think we have to query it separately, which is no big deal. Let's see here. So well, first so we do want the request so that we can get back the parent ID here. So let's do const. Well, we could use the validator as well. That way we get back an error saying that something doesn't exist, and we can check to see whether or not it does exist. So const data equals await request dot validate schema equals. Do I have that imported? No. Okay. Schema.create. I'm just going to do this all in line since it should be really small. Parent ID schema.number rules.exists table collections column ID. Okay, so then we would just merge data in to that. And then what was the other thing that I needed to do? Shoot. There was something I got distracted with this on that I was headed to do. What was it? Fudge. It was something in here. Oh, the query. Okay, so on edit, because we haven't done create yet, I have to go back and do that. So on edit, right here. We need to query for the children collections as well. So let's do const children equals await collection. Well, here. So no, we can't do related now, can we? Collection dot query dot where parent ID equals collection dot ID. Order by the sort order. Okay, and then let's add children into this. Okay, and then down here, where was that? Oh, right up here. So it won't be collection.collections, it will be just children. And that needs a comma after it. Okay. So, select star from collections where parent ID 1, or yeah, order by sort order, ascending column sort order does not, oh right, it's pivot sort order, my bad. Okay. Nope. Oh. because there is no relation there is the issue, right? Right. No, there is no sort order. Yeah, no. Oh, we're going to have to add that, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to have to add that. So collection to collection, whenever a collection has a subcollection, we need a way to order it. Because these are going to be like the modules where you separate a collection up into different sections. So we have the parent ID, but we don't have a way to sort them whenever they do have a parent ID. So we need table dot sort order on here. We'll make that nullable, I think. Well, not nullable, defaulted to 0. That's it. And then up in the model, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment this off for right now, just so that we can continue on and make sure that this is working, and then we'll go back and refresh the database. It's definitely none of the data needs to persist. But we have that prepared for whenever we do a refresh. So we have that collection that we just created that didn't get bound to anything. So now if we click this, we get 422. Where's the actual, here's the, okay, let's see. Required parent ID. Did I not add it? I must not have added. Oh, I added it here, but I didn't actually add it into the script. Yeah, I didn't add it in here at all. We'll put it on the data just in case, but I don't think it need to be on there at all, but it doesn't hurt. Okay. So that should be it. All right. Let's refresh to get rid of those errors. And add new collection. There it is. So now we should have a collection that properly has a parent ID. So if we refresh this, we have that junk one that got the null parent ID, and then we have this one that's properly bound. So that should be good. And then you can see that our posts are looped. They're loop-de-looped. So we need to change the one where the collection, I need to, here, let me add some hierarchy to that. Let's see. Oops, accidentally clicked. So let's come in here, and where we have the collection name, just make that bold for right now. There we go. So this is for the collection. This is for this collection. So this sub-collection, this main collection. And then eventually we'll merge them into one another. So we need to separate this out because this should not have a post bound to it at all yet. So if it's within here, we need to alter what we're looping over. So instead of posts here, it should be subcollection dot posts, which then we run into the issue, well, we're not loading that, so let's go load that. So within here, let's drop this down. I'm going to drop down the order by comment out too, and then we'll do preload, and we should have posts within here, and these posts do have a sort order already. So we'll do query dot order by, and I believe this one would be pivot sort order. So So we give that a save. Now we should have posts coming through. And if we save this, that should now be, yep. So now this is empty. It doesn't have any posts, but the collection as a whole does have a post on it. Okay, now we need to alter this to say, hey, whenever you select a post, it needs to go to this and not this. So let's take a look at that. Okay. Where's the actual? So yeah, another issue is these are both going to have the same ID. So let's think for a second here. We change that to just use a class query selector. And then within the init on selector, you would change to collection of posts. Did I put it? Whoops. Did I put an S on that in here, or did I just do collection of posts? No, you did collection of posts. Okay, good. Okay, so let's check. That should still be there. We'll refresh. Make sure that, yeah, okay. So that's still there. This one's not binding though. You can tell because it doesn't have the placeholder on it. So that might only be doing the. Could be because it's within a loop. And maybe init is before, like, ready. So let me go back and look at the life cycles here and see what else we have. So we have data and init. It looks like that's really it. It's just data and init. There's no like mounted or anything like that. From the, like if you're talking view. Okay. Well. Let's see here. So we know that the selector's working because it's still coming on for the second one. So we know that that's still good. What if we put this instead of a next tick? Is that, this does have that, right? Oh, they got other magics. Ooh. Would it be this then inside of the function? Probably. Try it and see what happens. Okay, well, so it is only happening to one because now this has it, but this one doesn't. That's interesting. Most of the time, if they accept a selector, they'll do it to all that apply to the selector. Yeah, no, that is very much so only for one, isn't it? So it says function that returns an element. So we would need to call that for each instance of it. So, and anytime that we add in a new item, evidently. So we'll split this off into a function inside of here. And we're going to need a way to pass specific, whoops, didn't mean to take the next tick with me. We're going to need a way to pass a specific selector into it. Or we're going to need to alter, again, how we're specifying a selector for a specific collection. So init autocomplete. We'll need the selector of some kind passed in. Okay, all of that should be self-scoped. Yeah, all of that should be okay, I think. Shouldn't hurt anything. And then we need to provide the selector there. So here, this one would be this dot init autocomplete for the main. So I guess we'll name this dot autocomplete main or something like that. I don't know. So this would be ID. I did underscore, didn't I? Autocomplete main. And then we would need to do it again for each post, or each collection, sorry. So this dot collections map. And then we'd probably do something, I guess. Oh, let's make these backticks. C.id, give that a save, come to here, and then we need to change this to match that. So this would become ID. No, it was, what was it? Autocomplete collection ID. Okay. See if that works. There we go. All right, now they're both highlighted up. Cool. Now, the next issue is if in here we type another, it's not going to show up because it's selected down here. So we need to change that ignore to be separate based off of the autocomplete as well. So I'm sure there is a better way to structure all of this, but we'll move forward with what we have. Let's see, how do we want to do that? So that's within the init autocomplete, yeah? It is. And it's grabbing it using this ignore IDs, which is grabbing it, if I can find it, based off of this posts. So why don't we pass in a second that is the collection. So if collection is null, we want to do it off of this posts. If it isn't null, then we want to do it straight off of the collection. So, or we could just pass in the collection ID, I guess, right? That way we don't have to worry about mutation off of this object or anything like that. So collection ID And then, shoot, where's the selector? Oh, yeah, and then we'll just bind it based off of the selector. So if collection ID, then we'll do, what was it? Auto complete collection ID. Otherwise, it will just be autocomplete main. Yeah, and then here we would pass in just empty, and then here be c.id. No, I like it the old way. Pass in selector, then pass in the collection, and then we'll just grab the collection ID off of the collection. Yeah. So C, and then get ignore IDs, pass in the collection into there, and then we'll do if collection return this dot find, or shoot, this dot collections dot find. We'll get it off of this instead of, that way we don't have to worry about mutations on this particular object getting outdated. C dot where C dot ID equals collection ID dot map, no, dot. All right, let's do const C equals, and then we'll return C dot otherwise just return this off of posts. Okay. And that should be good. Okay. All right. So now if we type another, there it is. And if we type another down here, it is not. So that's still working. Cool. And if we select, this is a test post, that's the next thing that we need to do, because now that's adding it onto the main and not necessarily the actual collection. So that's the next step. So let's see our selection right down here. So the same sort of thing is going to apply here. If we have a collection, add it onto the ID, otherwise add it onto the posts. So if we have a collection, sorry, that should be post.push. Oh, what am I doing? Doing a dance. There we go. So that should be all that we need for that, I believe. So now if we do test and we select this one, we get an error. How fun. What's the error? Cannot access property posts. Oh yeah, I did this dot collections. Yeah, and then we would need to find it. So there's a little bit more to that than what I let on. So let's do the top one as that. We'll do not collection. We'll do the else. And then we'll do this dot collections. Well, no, let's turn this into a full if. Is it collections on this? Yes. Nope, that's gonna have naming collision. There we go. All right. So now if we do, there we go. Now that's working. Oh yeah, it's still capitalization based. All right. All right, it looks like next we need to do remove because that's not working. That would make sense that we would need to add that in there. So let's see, that should have its own remove post call. So that should be easy enough. We should just be able to pass the actual collection in. So let's see here. Remove post, and then if we're inside of a subcollection, it would be subcollection passed in as the second argument. So if, oops, I had that selected. Since that's directly what we're looping over, you might just be able to delete it right off of there. Let's see. I don't know. We'll see if it works. Yeah, that seems to be working. Cool. Okay. I didn't actually know if that would work. But I guess that is being watched well enough. Cool. All right, so let's give that a save. And let's see if things auto-populate back exactly as we have it here. No. Not quite. So they both save to the actual collection here and not to... That makes sense. Because the ID is the same on both. So how do we want to name that? So it's where are we? It's this right here causing an issue. So they're all going into this post IDs array on the input field. So ideally what we should be doing here is separating them out somehow. And you need to separate them out by the collection as well. So let's see. We definitely want these to maintain post IDs. Put them inside of an object. I don't know how you would do that with a form naming though. Could do an array inside of the array. I don't know how you do that either though. Let's see. It's been a while. HTML field nested array name? I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Is that possible? Indexes? Okay. Yeah, I can do that. That's a-okay to me. Provide the ID. So we'll do that. So now what I don't know is if we can mix and match, like have these be. We'll do these different. So we'll do collection, subcollection post IDs. And then we'll have these be the subcollection ID. And then that will be a nested array. Okay, I like that. That sounds good. So we'll do name. And then we need this inside of here. So this will be SubCollection.id. And then we need to add SubCollection post IDs into the validator. I would assume that this is going to be an array where this the ID is the index, and then that's going to have an array inside of it. So that might be a little messy picking it out. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Could be perfectly valid. I honestly don't think I've ever actually tried this before, so let's see how well it works. So sub collection post IDs schema dot, it's going to be an array. It's going to be optional. It's going to have members of an array. So here, let's drop that down. So schema dot array dot optional dot members schema dot and at this point we would be at the post ID number. No, I don't think this level would be optional, because if you have, yeah, I think maybe it would. We'll leave it there. Rules dot exists table posts column ID. Okay. I'll break this down too, just so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay. I'm going to just console.log that out and see exactly what we get. So that's going to be on the update. So collection post IDs. Then I'm also going to do test and grab it off of the request as well. Just in case the validation does fail, at least this way we'll have an additional console log showing exactly what we're getting. Is it input? Input's the one you're looking for, Tom. Input. Okay. So now that we have that, let's drop a console log right here. We're not going to worry about persisting. I just want to make sure that we're actually getting the data at this point in time. So let's do console.log subcollection post IDs test. So we'll console log both of those out. And let's give it a test. So this one should not be on there. Well, let's go ahead and refresh just to make sure that we have the freshest data. So we'll take that one off and we'll try putting it back up here. So test, this is a test post. And let's try saving. Let's see what our console log looks like. The validation didn't fail. So subcollection post IDs is an array of an array with 1. And test is an array of an array with 1. So not quite what I'm looking for, because like it doesn't, there's no real index. So like if I came into here, really the parent ID is 2, and like how am I going to discern that that is 2 based off of, you know, like that would be an index of 0. So let's see. Mr. Avanti C said, "Hey there, just wanted to pop in and say thank you for all the effort you are putting into this. Really enjoying the series and content." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And no problem at all with catching it on demand later. I just appreciate you guys' support. So I need to rethink this, because that's not quite working how I wanted it to work. So like if we could specify a specific ID there, would be fantastic. I think the way that we would want to do that is via an object, but I don't know if you can you, like, you probably cannot replace that with that, I would imagine. I've never seen that before. So I wouldn't imagine that it would be a thing. Let's see. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get any good search results for this search. Let's see here. Now we could alter it so that like it's, yeah, let's do that. So I'm overthinking it. So let's take it back to that, right? No, let's take it back to this. Let's determine how you get the index in Alpine, because I don't know how. I don't think it works like Vue where it's the second argument. If it is, then well, that would be nice. But oh, it is. Okay, great. Has it always been? I used to think that it was more like Angular, where you had a specific key. Okay, so we'll get the index. We'll keep the same approach. We'll replace the ID with the actual index, and then in addition to that, we'll do that twice. So we'll do input type hidden name so that'll be the post. Okay, let's try that. Let's see how that works. So collection IDs needs to be added onto the validator. It's going to be very similar to this, except for it's just going to be for collections. And for the most part, it's going to be duplicated. So let's see, array optional number, collections ID at, well, yeah, the sub-collections, they will be created. Why are you red squigglied? Oh, because the name's the same. I didn't change the name yet. So sub-collection, collection IDs. Okay, let's give that a save. And let's post IDs. Okay, so collection IDs. Oh, duplicate name. Tack an I in front of it. I don't know. It's all for testing, so it doesn't matter anyway. Okay, and then we need to extract collection IDs as well. And okay, let's see if that works. Back into here, back into there, and add. This is a test post onto you, and we get an error. Literal not terminated before end of script. My bad. Which one is it? This one? Yep. Okay. All right, so let's give this a go. So test. Okay, let's try saving. Okay, what did we get? So subcollection post ID has an ID of 1, and then subcollection collection IDs has an ID of 9. So that's right. The collection ID is right. And then this is a test I think did have an ID of 1 for the posts. Yep. So, okay, that might work. The bad part is then we're just looping over similar indexes, so it's not as clean as I'd love it to be, but it should work okay. So let's get rid of these console logs. Let's try persisting it, see how we get. So we'll maintain the post IDs for right now as the main collection posts, and then for each, do it over the post IDs. So for let I equal 0, while I is less than sub collection post IDs I++. Let's do dot length, my bad. It's optional, right? So yeah, I get that it's possibly undefined. There we go. Okay. All right. So for each one of those, we'll get the index, and then we will loop over it. So const collection ID equals sub collection IDs I, and then const post ID equals sub collection post IDs I. And these are possibly nullable, so we will do a check. So if not sub collection IDs I, or not sub collection post IDs I, we'll get, hopefully this will that make TypeScript happy? No. There we go, that does. All right, let's do that. That would be better to do outside. Why do that for each loop when you can just do it once? And then we'll flip it. Okay. And we should be all right to get rid of that since we are now checking to make sure that it exists. Okay. There we go. Took a big circle to get here, but we're here. All right. So now what we want to do is bind these together. So we want to add the post to this collection. So what's the most best way that we could do this without querying the collection each and every time? So we could group them first before we loop based off of the collection. That way all that we need to do is for each collection do a add many or whatever, or what something like that, or sync it to each collection as opposed to adding it for each collection, each post. So let's do that. Const collections equals new set. So let's get all of the unique no. Let's go ahead and just do let collection post map equal an object, and then for each one of these, let's do collection post map collection ID push post ID if not collection post map collection ID then all right, why are you red? Oh, wait, you're a number array? How are you a number array? Are you a number array? You are a number array. How are you a number array? All right, let me take a look at that console log. So, all right, let's add in more to see what this looks like with more. I'm going to go back to where we have the console logs. Right here. Okay. And then let's dive into here. Come back into that collection. And let's add in yet another new collection. It's going to have the same name. It's no biggie. We need to fix that to where it reinitializes it whenever we actually add one in. So I'll refresh to actually make it initialized. And let's add a test post here and here. And then to this one, we'll add 2. So, okay. So there we go. So now we have 2 collections, one with 1 and one with 2. So let's take a look and see what those console logs look like. Okay. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay. My mind just wasn't wrapping around in the right place. So we get the index there, which matches 9 and 10, and then 10. 9 and 10, and then 10. So those are already grouped, right? 2, 1, 3. Yeah, so you just need to get the ones that have the same index. They're already grouped. So you take this index, and then you take this index. No. Nine and 10, and then 3. What's got me confused is I was expecting to see 9, 9, 10. Because, like, the index should be the same, right? For the one that has, like, it's grouped in the same array? No, maybe not. So it was the second one that had 2 in it. The first one had 1. Three was on the second one. But the second one had 2 on it. Muy interesting. Okay. Let me try that one more time, paying more attention to what's going on. So let's do another test here. I'm going to remove it completely from here. And let's do, this is a test post there. And then we'll do ASDF there. And then let's take a look at what actually is on here. So we have our LI. Both of these have the index of 0 on it. The value here is 9. The value there is 2. And here, the index went up to 1. But, oh, no, we want the index to be up here. So let's do X. And I don't think we'll need Y, but we'll put Y right there. So this would be X. X. Okay. That's better. So now let's try it out. Let's see what's going on here. Make sure that this is right. So do that. We'll get rid of you here. And we'll do both of the test ones up there, and then we'll do ASDF right here. Okay. Let's take a look at it now. So now it's 0, 0 with 9 and 2, and 0, 0 with 9 and 1. So there we go. Now that would be posting up as 9, 9, like I was expecting it to the first time. And then we would have 2, 1. Now, I don't think this needs to be a subarray. I think we can simplify that on ourselves by just getting rid of that altogether and allowing the index to do its thing there. So we can manually define the index to make sure that it's the same, but I don't think we need that to have a subarray on it. So now if we post this up, so let's try this one more time. So test and test. Oh, did I misclick? I must have. Test and ASDF. Okay, let's make sure that this is still looking right before we post it. So 0, 0, value 9, 9. In hindsight, that could go outside of there too, right? Like, that doesn't need to be inside of this loop. It should probably be able to go up here. And it would still apply to it. So that should be okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's actually post it this time. So test, another test, test. This is a test post and ASDF. Okay. Save. And we don't have anything actually saving, but we do get 2, 1, which the first one had 2, and what the heck? 9, 10. It's still getting back the same freaking thing for that. No. Oh, something failed anyway. Oh, yeah, because we removed the array from validation. So that's probably the old console log from before, which would be why it would still be the same. And then we just failed the validation, so we never even got to the console logs because we removed the array from this subcollection collection ID. So we just need to get rid of one layer of the array. Okay. So now let's try this one more time. All right, so another test. This is a test. And ASDF. Okay. And let's save that. Okay, that actually succeeded. There we go. That's more of what I want. Index 1 on the collection gets us the array of 2 posts. 0, and then index 1 gets us the array of 1 post. That's what I wanted. So now, hopefully I didn't, yeah, good. So we can go forward with this. Back to where we were. Okay, we shouldn't need to do the mapping now because this is now working as we want. Okay, so we get the collection ID, so this should actually just be a string. Yeah, or sorry, a number. And then this should be an array of number or undefined. Yeah, cool. So instead of looping over the posts, we'd want to loop over the collections. Since if we loop over the posts, we would be querying the collection more than once and applying the collection update more than once. But if we do it off of the collection, where things are defined only once, then we can grab the post array and sync using the entire array of the posts. So subcollection collection IDs dot length. Okay. And then we would do const collection equals await. And then actually we can simplify that, or not simplify, but we can make this even more efficient by taking it out of a for loop and into something else and maintaining just promises so that they run in parallel instead of in a series fashion. So we'll do that here in a second, but let's get these saving first. So const collection equals find or fail by the collection ID, and then we would want to await collection dot related posts dot sync, and then we're going to want to do the sort order here. So this will be a little bit different. Trying to remember exactly. So I think it's an object, and we're going to want to actually loop over them for that. So this would not be a single post ID, but rather post IDs. Okay, and then let's do const post sync data equals post IDs reduce previous current index. Start this off as an object. Okay, and then let's return an object spreading the previous, where the current, because no, current, we would, yeah, current, and then it would be another object with sort order of I. So we can simplify this actually by getting rid of that and wrapping it in this. There we go. Okay. So what that ends up looking like is, here, let me do a multi-line comment. Something like this. So we'll have an object where the post ID is here, and then within there it has sort order 0, and then this one would be another one. Oops, sorry. Then we'd have another one with 2 with sort order of 1. So that's kind of what we're doing. So these are the post IDs, and then we save it with the intermediary table data that we need to save as the object off of the post ID. So that's what we're doing here. That's what we're building with this reduce. So then all that we should need to do is pass in post sync data into U. Something with null, I bet. Argument object or undefined is not assignable to a parameter of type string or number. Doing the same kind of thing over here. So let me take a look real quick. Oh, no, it's in the sync assets. Yeah, no, that looks the same. It's okay. It's the fact that, I remember now, it's the fact that this is nullish. That should fix it. There we go. Okay. So I think that should now persist things. Let's give it a try. Oh, before we do that, let's clean this up. So we can make this run in parallel instead of in a series as it's doing now, because now it's going to loop over. It's going to await right here the find or fail, and then it's going to await the sync as well. And then it will move on to the next one, and then it will wait again, and then it will move on to the next one. But we can make it to where it can kind of run these all in parallel, instead of awaiting and then going to the next one by using promises. So since we don't need to get any particular data back from this, this will be a relatively easy switch. So we'll do SubCollection collection IDs dot map. Okay, and then within here we'll just loop over it. So this would be the collection ID. And then inside of here, all that we need to do is take that stuff there. We need to change this into an async function. And we need to return a new promise. We'll take resolve, and then we can plop this in here. And then at the end of this map, we'll have const promises. And then we need to just call resolve once we reach the end of that. Oh, no, this is the one that needs to be async. Sorry. You don't need to be. And then you are now back to the issue to where you can be nullable because we don't have a check on you. So we'll do if we can wrap this whole thing up in if, and then this would be a prime candidate to move off into a service. So if not sub collection post IDs, or if, yeah, no, there we go. Okay. And then why is resolve not happy? Because it accepts an argument. We don't really need to pass anything into it, so we'll just pass true. And then down at the bottom of our if, we'll do await promise dot, what is it, all or all settled? I think it's all. I don't remember the difference. And then we'll just await those promises. No? Argument of type promise unknown or undefined is not assignable to a parameter of type iterable unknown. Sorry about my chair. Oh, okay. There we go. When in doubt, always assume it's an issue with it being nullable. Okay, so then we don't need this if at all, so we can get rid of that. Now let's test it. So we'll come back into here. Nothing would have saved with the previous because we were just console.logging out. So let's go ahead and actually do it now. So let's put both of the tests on this first one. Okay, and then we'll put ASDF on the second. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save. Wow, that bombed. That did a hard bomb. I is not defined. Isn't it? No, it isn't, is it? My bad. There we go. Let's make I happen again. There we go. Now I is in there. And test, and ASDF. All right, no errors, so that seems good. Let's see if it pre-populates back with that, and it does. Fan flippin-tastic. So outside of the stream, I'll worry about making this prettier. You guys don't need to sit around for that. But let's go ahead and test the additional CRUD of it. So if we remove another test post from this first collection, let's see whether or not that persists. It does. If we add it onto this one, let's see if that persists. It does. And then the next thing to really do is to merge these posts somehow into the collection of these collections. I don't know how the best way to go about that would be, so I need to think on that. And then apart from that, well, once we get that working, we would want to do drag and drop so that you can reorder stuff, which that shouldn't take too much time once we have this all in a similar, in a single array type fashion. So yeah, that should, what are we going on here? About 2.5 hours. So I think that we'll call it there for today, and we will progress onward in the next stream, and I will have an answer for how we want to approach merging the parent collections posts with the child collections, because we should be able to do, you know, a post and then a collection and then a post and then a collection. I'm a little bit baffled by that right now. I'm sure there's an easy way to do it, but I need to play around with it and get a clear head around it. So thank you all for stopping by, watching, and for all of your support, as always. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great week.